Hello all, welcome back to this session on system verilog. So in this session, we will start with coding of dynamic arrays and let us understand how to code this dynamic arrays by considering some examples of dynamic arrays. So let me create a module. Um, Let me zoom in also, so it will be visible to you. Yeah. So let us create a model for dynamic arrays. Let us understand dynamic arrays. So let me create a module called dynamic underscore array underscore example. So in this, I will create two dynamic arrays, which is int type dyn1 and another dynamic array int dyn2, right? So I've created two dynamic arrays. Uh, next, within an initial beginning block, let me create memory for these two dynamic arrays. So I will not create memory explicitly for dynamic array 2. I will only create memory for dynamic array 1. So let me create the memory for dynamic array 1. dyn1 is equal to new. Okay. So with the help of the keyword new, I'm going to create a memory for my dynamic array dyn1. Okay, no need to mention the brackets here. So let's say we have created a dynamic array and we have allocated a memory of. So I've allocated total 5 memory locations to this dynamic array dyn. Okay. Now, so let me also assign some elements into this dynamic array. So I'll allocate some elements. dyn1 is equal to apostrophe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this method, in this method we can allocate any elements into our dynamic array. Okay. Or we can also use for each loop, can also use for each loop or for loop for entering elements into dynamic array. Okay. So we can also use for each loop or for loop for entering elements into dynamic array. I will show that how to enter elements using for each loop and for loop. Okay. So using for each loop, what I can do is uh, for each of dyn1 of I. So explanation of for each loop is already done in our theory sessions. So if you have not watched that, please watch it. Okay. dyn1 is equal to dyn1 of I is equal to I. Simply I'm just entering, simply just I'm iterating the for loop. So I will start from 0 to size of the array, that is 5. So that is 0 to 4, and the values 0 1 2 3 4 will be stored in this dynamic array. Okay. Or else what I can do is I can use a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, or not 5. I can use the built-in function, that is dollar size of dyn1. Okay, I can use this dyn1 of I is equal to I. Okay, so these are the two methods which I can use for inserting my elements into the dynamic array. Okay, so let me end this and end the module. Let me save this and let me comment this two for loops, and let me print the first statement. So before that, first I will comment this two for loops. Yeah. So let me write a display statement, dollar display. So how to write the display statement? The value of the dynamic array is percentage %d, comma dy_n1. Okay, so this is how you can display the entire array at a time. Or if you want to display element wise, then you can use a for loop for each of, or you can also use for each loop dy_n1 of I dollar display dy_n1 of I, sorry, dy_n1 of percentage d is equal to percentage d. Okay, so this is how I will display my array element wise, index wise, comma I comma dy_n1 of I. So let me compile it. Save and compile. Yeah, compilation is successful. And now let me simulate it. Start simulation. Work dynamic array example. I'm getting some error. This argument number 2 is unpacked type percentage p. Yeah, sorry, here it should be percentage p. So for displaying unpacked arrays, we should use format percentage p. So since it is an unpacked array, we should use percentage p, not percentage d, for displaying my array. Start simulation, work, and dynamic array example. Let me simulate it again. Yeah, it is getting simulated. And now let me run it. Yeah. So let us check the console. In this, we can observe here. So the value of dynamic array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you want to see it in element wise, you can see like this. Dy_n of 0 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So like this, we can enter elements into the dynamic array and display the elements, display the array as it is, or display it element wise or index wise, right? And your task is to write the display statement for displaying this elements which are inserted through for each loop and for loop. Okay, that you can do it. Next, let me okay, so I've created the memory for first dynamic array, right? So let me create the second so let me create the memory for my second dynamic array. So how to create it? So actually we have in theory sessions we have seen, right? So there are two ways in which I can create memory for my array, dynamic array. That is, first method we can use a new method here like this. We can use a new keyword and we can allocate the memory to our dynamic array, or else we can copy that dynamic array. Okay, now let's use a copy method. So in copy method also we have, so we will see copy method for creating the memory of a dynamic array. So in copy also we have actually two methods that also we have discussed in our theory sessions. Well, in one method our entire array will be deleted and and it will be created again. Okay, so the entire array elements will be deleted and it will be copied. And in second method, the entire array elements are retained, it will not be deleted and the elements will be copied. Okay, so first we will see the first method, that is entire array elements will be deleted and it will be copied into the second dynamic array. So let's see that dy_n2 is equal to dy_n1. Okay, so this is copy method. So let's see the copy method. So in this copy method, there are two methods to copy. So let us see the copy method. So how to copy the elements of the dynamic array. So this is the syntax which we follow, which we have discussed in our theory sessions. That is, simply equate the two dynamic arrays. Dy n2 is equal to dy n1. And let us display the second dynamic array. So dollar display the value of dy n2 is percentage p comma dy n2. Okay. So let us see what we are getting, and afterwards we will continue. So project, let me compile this again. So let me compile this again and simulate this module again. So in the work dynamic array example, let me simulate it, and let me run it again. Yeah. So you can observe here. Let me zoom in. So you can observe here. Uh, the value of dynamic array 2 is also the same. That is, just simply I have copied the contents of dynamic array 1 into dynamic array 2. Okay. Now let me end the simulation. Now, uh, what if I want to increase the size of my dynamic array 1? Or first, let's see what happens if we try to change any element in dynamic array 2. Okay, so let's see what happens if we change any element inside our dynamic 2, whether it will reflect in dynamic array 1 or not. Okay, so let us say dy n1 of 2 is equal to 3. Okay, so I'm changing the second element to 3. Okay, now let us see what happens if we change the value in dynamic array 2, whether it will be reflected in dynamic array 1 or not. Okay, so I'm changing the value in dynamic array 2. Okay, I'm changing the value in dynamic array 2. Let us see whether it is getting reflected in dynamic array 1 or not. So it is dynamic, we will display the value of dynamic array 1 after modifying dynamic array 2 is percentage p comma dy n 1. Okay, so let us again check it what we are getting. Let me compile it again and simulate it. Let me run it again. What value I have added in this? So here we can see I am changing the value of index value to, sorry, it is already 3. Okay, so let me change it to some other value so that we can observe the change. Wait a minute, let me end the simulation. So it is already 3, so we are not able to observe any change. Let me change it to 10. Let me compile it again and simulate it. Work dynamic array example. Run all. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the yeah, I'm changing the index value, sorry, the second element in the dynamic array. So I'm changing the second element of the dynamic array to dy and 2. It was 3. So what I've done, I've changed it to 10. So what is happening? There is no reflection in my dynamic array 1. Here in the result, you can observe here. In the result, we can observe here value of dynamic array dyn1 after modifying dyn2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. There is no change. Okay. So we can conclude that if we are changing any value in the dynamic array 2, there is no change in dynamic array 1. Okay. Yeah. Now, what if we want to increase the size of my dynamic array 1? So at present it is 5 locations, right? Now what if if I want to increase it to 10 locations? So I can follow two methods. First method is, so what can I do is dy2, sorry, dy1 is equal to new of 10. I can simply write dy1 is equal to new of 10. But what happens here, the previous elements will be erased. So if I follow this method, all the previous elements will be erased and new 10 locations will be created. So if I don't want that, I want to store or retain my previous elements, then I can use this second method, that is dyn1 is equal to new of 10 dyn1. So so in this method, what happens? The previous value, the previous elements will be restored and extra 10 location and 10 locations will be created by restoring the previous elements. Okay, so let us see this display statements. Let us display both. So let's say, okay, so I will increase the locations of dy n2. So let us see the difference between these two. Dollar display the modified dynamic array 1 is percentage p comma dy n1. Okay, next dollar display, let me zoom in. Yeah, dollar display the modified dy n2 is percentage p comma dy n2. Okay, so let us see this. Let me compile it again. Yeah, let me simulate it. And run it. So in the first case, we can see that the modified dy n1 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, all zeros. So all the previous elements are deleted and new 10 locations are created. And in the second case, we can observe modified dy n2 is 1, 2, 10, 4, 5. So 5 elements of previous elements are restored and extra 5 locations are created. So total 10 locations are present. Okay, so this is how we can increase the size of the dynamic array by restoring the elements or without restoring the elements. Okay, yes. Now let's see one more built-in methods. So let's say if I want to know the size of the dynamic array, then I can simply use dollar display the size of the dynamic array is percentage d comma dy_n1 dot size. So I will get to know the size of the dynamic array 1, and if I want to know the size of the dynamic array 2, I can use the size of the dynamic array 2 is percentage d comma dy_n2 dot size. Okay, so like this I can know the size of the dynamic array. And if I want to delete the second dynamic array or any dynamic array, I can use a method called delete, so that I can delete any dynamic array. So let us say dy_n2 dot delete. Okay, so that that entire dynamic array will be created. So let's see, let's display this dynamic array. Dollar display dy_n2 of percentage d. Okay, dy_n just simply represent display the dynamic array, that's it. Percentage p comma dy_n2. Let's see if it will get printed or not. Let us compile it again. So we'll see the size of the dynamic array 1, and let us see whether the dynamic array 2 is getting printed or not. Okay, simulate, start simulation, work, dynamic array example, enter. And let me run it again. Here we can observe in the compile in the console. So the size of the dynamic array 1 is 10, and if we are trying to print the dynamic array 2, we are getting empty braces. That means there is no dynamic array 2. Okay, the array has been deleted, so it is showing empty locations. That's it, empty braces. Okay, so this is how we are going to create a dynamic array, and we are going to allocate or enter the elements into the dynamic array, and copy the dynamic array from one dynamic array to another array. And we have also checked if we modify the second dynamic array, copied dynamic array, then there are any reflections in the original dynamic array or not. And we have also seen how to increase the size of the dynamic array with and without retaining the old elements. And we have also seen the built-in functions, size, dot size, and delete. Okay, so yeah, so that's all for this session. Thank you.